Welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Rick Utze from Maranatha Community Fellowship in Plain City, Ohio. I don't know how many of you are NBA fans. I'm not, so if you're not a sports fan, don't worry. But in the NBA, there's a time now where there's all these free agents, so you can sign all these people and the players are moving from one team to another. And LeBron James is changing teams, and that only matters because we're in Ohio and he's one of the best players. But not only that, but there's a team called the Warriors that have the best team by far in the NBA, and they just signed another all-star as long as he gets over his injury. So now they are like head and shoulders above the rest. They are making a name for themselves. And NBA fans, even devout NBA fans, are starting to question hey, well, you might as well just hand him the championship next year because nobody even comes close to them. And, I don't know what the NBA should do about that. But it got me to thinking, do we try and make a name for ourselves? And what does God think about that? There is a story in the Bible that discusses just that. It's called what we normally call the Tower of Babel. And it's in Genesis 11, way back at the beginning of the Bible. And at that time, everybody spoke the same language. And here's what the Bible says happened in that time. It says the whole earth had the same language and vocabulary. And people migrated from the east, and they found a valley in the land of Shinar, and they settled there. And they said to each other, "Come, let us make oven-fired bricks." They used brick for stone and asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top to the sky. Let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered throughout the whole earth." And so you look at our cities today with the great, big, tall buildings, right? And all the people that live in them. And yet that was going on thousands of years ago. They were building a tower so that there would be room for everyone, and they were building it to the heavens. And they were trying to make a name for themselves. And God looked down. It says, and God looked down over the city and the tower that the humans were building, and the Lord said, "If they have begun to do this as one people, all having the same language, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down there and confuse their language so that they will not understand one another's speech." And so that's what God did. That is when languages occurred. And because they couldn't understand each other and they spoke different languages, now they grouped and spread out according to that language. And it says there was confusion and they were scattered through the whole earth. And so, anytime we live for our purposes and not God's, there's going to be confusion and disorder. In James 3:16, it says, "For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there is disorder and every evil practice." That is the wisdom that's earthly and not from above. And so if there's disorder in our lives, if there's confusion, if there's things that we're anxious about and we don't know, how to feel about that, and it's just causing tension, we need to stop and think, hey, do we have selfish ambition in our heart? What's going on inside? Because what's going on inside is what comes out of us. And we want to treat the outside symptoms. But that only lasts so long. We have to get to the source, which is in our heart. And God is the one who can bring us peace instead of confusion. And so I really don't care what happens with the NBA. I don't care if there's fair competition or not. Whether one team is making too big of a name for itself or not. However, here's the bottom line. God does care what's going on in our lives and whether we're trying to make a name for ourselves, because our purpose is to live for Him. We're made in His image. We're to represent Him to the world. And so God doesn't want any competition for His glory. He doesn't want us to seek our own glory, but we're to seek His. And the good news is God says that if we humble ourselves and want to do His will, He says He resists the proud, but He gives grace to the humble. Hey, I don't know about you, but I could always use more grace in my life. So are we going to humble ourselves and have God exalt us in due time, and we get to be with Him forever? Let's guard our hearts, and let's remember that God is a God of peace and not confusion. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Bottom Line.